did Jimmy need his EpiPen?
She's like, you're a con artist.
Yes, AD, like, interrogating Sarah Ann. Sarah Ann can't play the victim card.
You literally went out looking for him. He's dumb enough to take the bait.
That changes her from being a friend to she's an ex. He's masking this as like, oh, my friends are girls.
Yeah.
And again, it was just one time. Jimmy is probably the most toxic one. Now that Jeremy's out the picture.
Yeah. Jeramey. 50/50 podcast. Hi everyone, I'm Yas.
And I'm Yel.
And welcome back to your favorite podcast, the 50/50 podcast.
Yes, and don't forget to subscribe while you're here already because we have new episodes coming out every single Wednesday, so you don't want to miss it. We are back again with another recap of Love is Blind, and this time we're recapping the latest 2 episodes that just came out, which I believe are 10 and 11. You know, a lot happened in these episodes, so we're going to get right into the, recapping of the show and everything.
Yeah.
And it was like one of the scenes that I think everybody was waiting for finally happened in these episodes.
Yes,
which is that like lake scene.
The lake scene where literally they all meet up.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
So
just so many things.
Yeah, so many things. Actually, not again. They get to see each other for the first time. They meet up from the pods. That's what I mean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like all the couples that made it, out the pods together and they got engaged. They're meeting again for them, but they're meeting for the first time everybody else.
Exactly.
All the other people who they got either rejected or just didn't find a match or whatever it is, they're all meeting their like previous connections.
Yeah.
So we've all been waiting for that.
We've been waiting. They've been teasing it for a while now because they keep showing it.
Yeah.
We didn't know when it was coming. I thought it was in the last batch, but it's now today.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody's like, did Jimmy need his EpiPen? We all want to know that.
Yeah.
How is Chelsea going to react to Trevor?
Exactly.
These are all things that we wanted to know. And starting kind of, straight off the bat I want to start with first Laura and Jeramey.
Yeah, we need to start with them.
We need to start with them because so much drama around them. Last time we talked about it a little bit too, where they ended on, Jeramey going and meeting up with Sarah Ann and basically spending the night with her because he came back home at 6 a.m. and that is considered, you spent the night somewhere else. You're not at your house if you come at home at that time. You know what I mean? So we ended on that, and when they go to this like lake scene, everybody's there and Jeramey is there, Sarah Ann is there, and Laura is there.
Yeah.
So it's like the ultimate meetup. For us, for them, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, awkward for them. We didn't see any interaction between Laura and Sarah Ann.
Yeah,
there was no interaction at all. I think Sarah Ann was avoiding her. I don't think Laura was because I feel like Laura is okay with confrontation.
Yeah.
I think she's okay with that. Yeah. I don't think she's afraid of it. But Sarah Ann didn't get near the other girls.
No.
And they were also, kind of like together in a little...
Yeah. They all kind of took Laura's side, I would say, if there's any sides to take when it comes to the girls, because it's really, what the real problem here is Jeramey. Jeremy's the issue. He is, what Sarah Ann did is so disrespectful just because she sent that text, like,
to basically almost a married man.
Exactly.
She's getting involved in a relationship. That's what she's doing.
Exactly. So that was just, I just felt so bad for Laura because, the betrayal of it all and everything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in a way, things happen for a reason, and maybe this was like the sign that she needed right now, so she didn't marry Jeramey.
Yeah,
go
because
with that
would have been a disaster. Because he wasn't there for the right reasons, and she called him out and she told him the things, and I'm so glad that she did that because she's like, you're a con artist.
Yes, I love that she said that
because he is. He wants to play both girls at the same time. I mean, Sarah Ann, she's basically open to.
She knows there's another woman involved and she's inserting herself into that situation, so I guess she doesn't care. That's how I took it.
She doesn't care. She's like, let the best woman win kind of situation with her. But, he is disrespectful, and his attitude and how he acts and how he wants to kind of manipulate things.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that she is not with him and she cut things off.
Me too. I'm so happy because there's some other girls even on the show, because Chelsea, for example, we'll get into that in a second, but I feel like Chelsea would be the type that if she would have been with Jeramey, for example, which I know that was never the case, but like if that was her situation, I feel like Chelsea would be more forgiving, or somebody like that, they'd be like, oh, okay, he just messed up once. But Laura was straight up like, he did this, he has shown other things, character flaws. She just cut it off with him, which I'm so proud of her for doing that, because she honestly, any woman deserves better than that. Anybody.
Really, they're just getting to know each other. How are you going to, before you even enter a marriage, already have these issues?
Yeah.
The marriage is going to be even worse.
Exactly. And there's healthy ways to do that. If he wanted to talk to Sarah Ann and like kind of just, he had that like I guess, urge to just meet up with her and kind of, have some closure, I guess we could say. Like, talk things out with her because they did end their relationship, I mean, they didn't even end it. There was no drama or anything, but...
I mean, the relationship ended in the pods, for me. And what more do you need? What more explanations do you need? You should have given all the explanations that you need at that moment. But anyways...
Exactly. And it was so uneventful, their breakup, too. It wasn't like anybody, like, was crying, or I feel like their breakup showed how I felt at that moment that there was, like, no connection there because it was just a cold breakup. It was just like, he was like, okay, you're not the one. And she was like, well, can you tell me why? And he's like, I don't know. There's no real reason. Yeah. So, I mean, to me, I feel like there's no passion there either way. So there's no passion to be with her either,
Exactly.
So anyways, but, Jeramey, what he was just doing is not correct. If he wanted to explore closure with Sarah Ann, whatever, they could have had a conversation. They could have met up for lunch. Why do they have to go to a bar at nighttime, talk till 6 a.m.? They couldn't meet at 12 and talk from, 12 to 6 p.m.?
I mean, everybody knows that this meeting was going to happen anyways because that's part of Love is Blind.
Exactly.
Everybody knows, whether you watch the show or not, someone's going to tell you we're all going to end up meeting.
Exactly.
So we all know that.
Yeah.
And so he could have waited. And they knew that. He could have waited.
Yeah.
For this, whatever a lake house party, whatever, the picnic.
Exactly.
They could have waited for that.
Yeah.
And he could have waited for that, and he didn't. He chose to go because he wanted to. That's what he wanted to do. He didn't respect Laura enough or his relationship enough to say, you know what, I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
He didn't care.
No, he didn't care.
You reap what you sow. You didn't care, neither does she now, because this is what happened.
Exactly. And so he's just so disrespectful, like you're saying. He's just he doesn't care. And that's the truth. That's what he showed here. He doesn't care about Laura at all. So, good thing they're not getting married or anything. And good thing they didn't even make it down the altar. Like, that's just a waste.
It's a waste of time.
Waste of time for her. Just like his track record, he was engaged previously to getting on this show, like, as in, I think he said 3 weeks before he signed up for the show or got asked to be in the show, something like that. He was just previously engaged. So I feel like he is known to, like, bounce around from relationship to relationship. So he doesn't care. He did not join the show for the right reasons. He is not ready to get married.
And did you hear also about that, what they said about his house being, like, so pristine condition?
Oh, yeah.
They're like, it's not even his house, it's like an Airbnb or something like that. It's like...
That's why his house was so, like, perfectly clean, because it's not really his home. He had only been there for, like, 3 weeks prior to filming. Yeah. So it's like...
They just, like, gave him a home, like a staged house. Basically, exactly. That's what it was.
Exactly. That's what they were saying. So it's like... So I remember when Laura even said that, she's like, wow, his home is so clean. Like, is it staged? Like, girl, you were right. Yeah. It is staged.
I mean, she called it. She called it every single time. She called it.
But she said it kind of joking, but she was right.
Yeah, she was right. And then the whole thing, which I think is completely so rude from Jeramey and from Sarah Ann, they basically start dating. I feel like they're at the lake.
Yeah. When they know what's going on. They know how awkward it is, because everybody even feels it. Like, Sarah Ann says it. She's like, I'm being painted out to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
And it's not... Well, we'll get into that too. But then they feel the awkwardness. So they know the tension is there. And then they still decide to, like, get on the jet skis. And, like, I don't know. I just feel like it was so disrespectful, because Jeramey just ended his relationship, his engagement with Laura, like, literally seconds ago, maybe a couple minutes ago, whatever. And then he's, like, happily just, like, skis and hanging out with the...
And everybody can see them. It's not like... I mean, who cares if he wants to have a relationship with Sarah Ann? But at least wait,
Can you wait till, like, later that night when...
Yeah,
like,
can you wait till everybody's gone? Or, like, why don't you leave? Like...
Can you wait till the next day? You guys hang out the next day? Like, I don't know. It's so rude and disrespectful, because the person that, like... And maybe it's not Sarah Ann's fault. Like, it's Jeramey's fault. But she is the one that you, like, cheated with, basically. And then in front of your fiance, you're going to go with the girl that you cheated with. It's just so horrible timing. He doesn't care. Like,
he doesn't care. He
doesn't care at all about Laura.
And I feel bad for Sarah Ann now at this point, because what he's doing is going to happen again.
Yeah, and I mean, just like you're saying exactly. Yeah, if she thinks that he left his, like, fiance for her, what makes her think that when he sees somebody else that he likes or feels like he has a connection with, he's not going to leave her for that other person?
And same goes for Sarah Ann.
Yeah.
As soon as she finds someone that she's interested in, she's going to go ahead and, put herself in someone else's way.
Right.
Or in a relationship, because that's what she did with him.
Yeah, because she doesn't mind, I guess,
doesn't care
if they're in a relationship or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which leads me to also AD, like, interrogating basically Sarah Ann, which
that was
so good. I was like, AD... She should be hired to host the reunion at this point. Yeah. She was asking all the right questions. Like, every single question that I had in my mind, AD asked her.
Yeah. She did, because I was just like, just like we said, why are you talking to someone that's in a relationship?
Yeah. Why did you feel the need to send that text?
Yeah.
Or DM, excuse me. Like, that's what AD asked her. And then Sarah Ann even tried to, like, change the words. And AD was like, no, I read the message. So, like, you can't tell me. And there's screenshots of it, I'm sure, on the internet or whatever. They probably, hopefully, they pull it up at the reunion, too.
They might.
We can see exactly what she said. But we heard Laura read it out.
Yeah.
You know, during the filming. And, I mean, it is hard to think. And I know Sarah Ann is like, oh, why is everybody blaming me? But it's because you sent that message first.
It's because Jeramey didn't go out looking for you.
Exactly.
That's the thing. It's Sarah came looking for him.
Exactly.
That's why. And Laura, she's doing such a good job, I guess, to put the blame on Jeramey. Put the blame on Jeramey because he's the one that owes her, the
commitment.
The
with
commitment,
him.
right? Exactly. So the respect, the commitment comes from him. But Sarah Ann is the one coming inside of the relationship and wanting to split it up because that's what she's doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, we don't know because that's not how it happened, but I would have loved to see what would have happened had she not sent that DM.
Right.
Would he have gone looking for her? We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know
We don't
now.
know.
And so I feel like she's like, you know, she was even crying there in the show because I feel like she's like, why is
Laura
everybody turning
was crying?
on
No.
Laura too, but Sarah Ann.
Sarah Ann, okay.
Sarah Ann was crying because I feel like she was like, why is everybody like turning on me when Jeremy's just as equally at fault, which he is. He is just as equally at fault. But right. I feel like, you know, AD and everything was asking all these questions because it's just like, why'd you send that message? Because now we see that as like, you sent that message, leaving the door open for him to then come in, which still he's completely in the wrong. He's, you know, as far as I'm concerned, he's like, you know, trash for like Laura, right? He's not a good partner.
No.
But if she hadn't sent that message, would he have gone? We'll never know because she sent that message.
Exactly. So now the blame is on her because you came and said, basically, I'm available.
Right.
If you have interest in me, I'm available.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to be in a relationship with you. That's what she's saying to him.
That's what she said, exactly.
And so...
And then his fault is for going after it.
Yeah.
Because as a committed man, if he was truly loved Laura and wanted to be in a relationship with her and marry her and all that, then that message to him, he should have just not even responded to it. So that's why they're both at fault. But like, I feel like Sarah Ann can't play the victim card here.
She can't play the victim card. She can't be like, the woman always gets the blame as the homewrecker. That's not what it is. That's not what it is. You literally went out looking for him.
Exactly.
And he's dumb enough to take the bait. That's what happened.
Exactly. And nobody's not saying that Jeramey has like no blame either, that he's innocent. Nobody's saying that. It's just that she can't say that she's innocent either. They're both at blame, and as much as I guess she doesn't want it to seem like she's like, I'm here to embrace the experience. Okay, the experience was in the pod, sweetie.
The experience was over for her.
Yeah.
The experience was over. It's not time to experience it right now when he's basically a married man.
And nowhere in Love is Blind is it like, because she's like, embrace the experience. Nowhere in Love is Blind does it say after, you know, the engagement happens, you should come in and try to break that engagement. Yeah, because you still have feelings.
Right.
That is not what the experience is about. So she is just...
I mean, she's gonna figure it out for herself. Yeah. How he is, because we see who he is.
He's gonna do the same thing to her.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. If, like you said, if she doesn't do something to him first already. Because I don't know if they're together right now or not. I'm not sure.
I've heard rumors that they are.
I've heard rumors also that they probably are together. But either way, I feel like it wouldn't last even...
Yeah. So I mean, well, it's lasted, I guess, a year because they said they filmed this last year.
Yeah, last year, 2023. So yeah, if it's true that they're still together, but yeah. So that was that. Laura was, you know, I think she played really good. She was like really trying to hold it together. She was being like tough and everything. But then you do see like in her side interview that she like starts crying and everything, because it is sad.
She feels betrayed.
She feels betrayed. Exactly. Yeah. So that was just, you know, another couple out. So from 5 couples that made it out the pods engaged, now we're down to 3.
And 3 that I honestly don't feel that any of them, this is just my opinion, that any of them are going to walk it or make it down the aisle. Yeah. Say yes, I should say. Yeah. They might walk down the aisle, but I don't think they're saying yes.
You don't think they're going to say I do? I know. And we'll talk about our predictions later too, because the trailer for the preview for next week's episode, which is them all going down the altar, it has me a little confused.
Me too, which makes me question what I really think. But yeah, let's continue on with the couples. Yes. Really quick.
Next couple I want to talk about is Chelsea and Jimmy.
I always want to call him Johnny.
Me too. I always want to call him Johnny. I always get like...
Because confused. Jimmy, Johnny, they're so similar.
Jeramey, it's all really similar.
Yeah, they all have the Y at the end.
Yeah, and start with a J. So it's all very similar. But yeah, okay. Jimmy and Chelsea. That is the next couple. And, you know, they're up and down. They're like a...
They're a mess. But where should we begin with them? Because there's just so much to say on them.
I know. I am just shocked. So I guess we can start there. I'm just shocked at like their fight that they had about...
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I'm shocked about so many different things around that. Like so many topics to cover with that. But Chelsea basically tells Jimmy that she doesn't feel comfortable with him having these two friends that are girls.
Yes. That he calls them my girlfriends.
My girlfriends. It just sounds wrong.
It sounds so wrong, and I just don't like Jimmy.
My God. Me too. I don't like him either, and I don't like that part of him and everything. But she expresses to him that how she doesn't feel comfortable about the friendship that they have, because we get to learn a little bit more about that friendship. They text all day. He goes out to he wants to go out to bars and everything
with them.
And he's apparently not that really open about it, because she says that a friend of hers that was also at that bar, Mackenzie, texted her and was like, hey, I see Jimmy here and he's with these girls. And that was news to Chelsea. Chelsea didn't know that he was going to meet up with the girls.
Yeah.
His girlfriends.
She thought he was going there for like a birthday party.
Of a male friend.
Of a male friend, because that's what he had said to her. That was his reasoning. Yeah. He's like, well, I made it home within an hour and a half. Like, I went there and back within 1 hour and a half.
Right.
But he still goes there and meets up with these two girlfriends of his.
Right.
That we later come to find out during this fight that he, told her with the cameras off, because that's what he said. He's like, I told you to not say this, but that he hooked up with one of those girls.
Exactly. So that's when there's so many different things to touch on with this argument, because that's one of the things I wanted to talk about too, is that changes her from being a friend.
Yeah.
To she's an ex.
Yeah.
So he's masking this as like, my friends are girls.
Yeah.
And it was just one time. We just hooked up one time. I'm sure if the roles were reversed and she said that she wants to be friends with her ex that she only hooked up with one time, he wouldn't like that either.
No.
Because that's no longer a friend anymore. That's an ex, like we're saying. So what you're asking is not just to have a friend that's a female. You're asking to be friends with your ex.
Yeah.
And some people don't feel comfortable with that. And Chelsea's one of those people. She doesn't feel comfortable with it.
But even some women or even men, right? It doesn't matter. Some people don't like having, your husband, because it's soon to be your husband, have this intimate and close relationship with other women. That's weird.
Yeah, even if they weren't exes.
For me, that's weird.
Yeah.
Why? You have your wife already who is a female who can give you that female perspective. Why are you looking for someone else?
And it's a little strange, that whole thing. And before, like you're saying, before this episode, we didn't know that he had hooked up with one of them.
Yeah, we didn't know.
And now it makes so much sense.
It makes sense.
It was always weird. And the way that they were talking to him.
That's why he's like my best friends of 2 years.
Yeah.
That's weird. Like, you're going to literally meet these friends of 2 years. All these other people that are coming in, they're like, these are my friends from since, I was
middle
a kid.
School, Clay has his friends that they were there since.
Or even college. Let's say it's not even middle school, but at least college time. Right. It's more than 2 years, right. Which makes perfect sense why they're his girlfriends.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's disgusting. I do not like him.
I know. And then during that fight, he, is like, well, you've never asked me. He tells her, you never asked me before to stop talking to them. She's like, okay, well, now I'm asking you to to tone it down. She isn't even saying don't ever see them again. She's just like, let's put some boundaries up. Yeah. He's like, well, I'm not willing to. And he basically, because he wanted to break up with her right then and there. Yeah. So he was willing to break off his engagement.
Yep. For these girls,
rather than come to a compromise, maybe, do something that makes Chelsea feel comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, he could have done so many things, like, let's include you in the group text.
Why can't she be they now have, instead of being a group of 3 friends, why can't it be a group of 4 friends? Yeah. There's so many things he's so unwilling. And that, to me, huge red flag.
Huge.
I was like, he's willing to break off a marriage, soon to be marriage, right? Engagement. He's willing to break off an engagement over these friends. He can't stop having these friends that are girls. To me, that shows that he doesn't care for Chelsea that much. He keeps saying, I love you, I love you, I love you, this and that, but it's obviously just from his mouth outwards. Yeah. It's not what he truly feels.
He doesn't feel, and that's the issue here with Chelsea. That's why Chelsea is so insecure, because as much as he says to her, I love you, and kisses her and this and that and whatever, she can sense that he is not all there for her. Yeah. And that brings out all these insecurities of hers, and she is a mess. And we can see it throughout the entire season. She is a mess.
She's not sure.
She's not sure because he's not sure of her, and she knows that.
Exactly. And even during that fight, that was another thing that I really disliked about Jimmy, because the fight starts, the argument or whatever that they have starts because Chelsea is expressing how she feels, okay? And also another thing there that to cover here too is that when they were in the pods, he said that he was basically like a homebody, that he doesn't like to go out to bars, whatever. And that's what Chelsea liked about him, because she says she does not like to go out.
She doesn't like to go out.
Bars and clubs, which I agree with her. That's the type of person I am too.
Yeah, me too.
And Jimmy, he's like, no, I didn't say that. I say I do like to occasionally go out. And she's like, okay, well, in these last I think she's like, we have 2 weeks left to get to know each other, and you've gone out 3 times or something like that. She said some number.
Which for her is probably a lot because she says she doesn't go out.
Exactly. So that, I mean, for me, that's a lot too. If you're going out 3 times in the last 2 weeks and you're going out to bars and clubs, to me that's a lot because I wouldn't even go out once to bars and clubs in 2 weeks. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to me, 3 times is a lot. And especially like she was saying, like she feels that she has put everything on the side to just focus on like this relationship and this like and then experience.
That's what they're supposed to do.
And that's what they're supposed to do. And she also feels that he's not like making it a priority.
Right.
So she's voicing all these, opinions and everything, how she feels. And then when they're fighting, he is like so manipulative and tries to turn it around and says that it's like her fault.
Yeah.
He starts calling her that she's drunk.
Yes, I know. And then oh my gosh,
I can't believe that
she accepts that.
She accepts that and she goes along with what he's saying.
And she takes the blame for it.
And she takes the blame when she should never. I don't see how she was wrong in any way. She said my delivery was bad. I don't even think the delivery was calm. Bad. Yeah.
She was so calm because any other person would not let him act like that.
Exactly.
You're texting other girls. You're going out there, especially someone that you hooked up with.
And all day, because she says that all day they're sending texts back and forth, they're talking, that it's a constant thing day after day after day. It's like, that's a little much. I don't even talk to my good friends that often.
Yeah, I mean, who has the time to constantly
keep up with your friends,
be messaging all day long?
Yeah.
And that's why she's like, well, now that makes so much sense to me about, well, you haven't kissed me today.
Right.
In the morning you did it. And I was saying, well, he's working this and that, whatever. No, the reason that she's like this is because he is giving so much attention to other women. And she feels like, how come I'm not getting this attention that he's giving to other people?
You're right. I didn't even think about it that way, but that makes sense because she's like, like we were saying, like, oh, he doesn't have time. But she's like, if you have time to text them and to call them or whatever, she's like, then why don't you have that same type of energy towards me?
Exactly. And then that's why, and he calls her clingy, and that's why she gets so offended because it all makes sense. He's a horrible person.
Yeah.
Straight up.
And I mean, I feel like everybody has like their storyline and how they paint them, but honestly, I feel like Jimmy is probably the most toxic one. Well, now that Jeremy's out the picture.
Jeremy's out the picture.
He is more toxic than of the last 3 couples left between him, Clay, and Johnny. Because Clay and Johnny are honestly, I don't see, we'll get into that, but I don't see many red flags with them. Jimmy is like the one that's mostly, for me,
and manipulative.
I hear an alarm when I see him.
Yeah, he's so manipulative. He switches things up on her like so fast. She says
she's not strong enough to stand her ground and be like, no, listen, I'm sharing to you how I feel, and you're not taking it serious.
Exactly.
Or you don't care. Also, that's what it seems like. He doesn't care.
I mean, he doesn't care, and the one thing that I really, really dislike is how she said something, help me out here.
Yeah.
Something like she was going to leave or whatever. Yeah. And then he's like, no, I'm going to leave.
Oh my God.
What?
Exactly. That's why I was like, he's so childish too. Because she was just like, well, I don't think, if this is how you want to be, then I don't think this is going to work out for me. Yeah. Whatever. She was saying something like that. And she's like, I don't know if she said maybe I should go, but I feel like she said something like that. She said something like maybe I should go. Something like that she said. And then he like immediately is like, well, you crossed the boundary, so I'm leaving. And then she's like, don't leave me. I'm like, what?
At that moment, you know what she should have? She should have packed her stuff and she should have left or let him leave or whatever the case may be. But honestly, she's now at this point begging him to stay.
Exactly.
She needs to get out that relationship. That relationship is not for her. It's not for her.
And then he leaves. He ends up leaving. Yeah. And we see him. He comes back the next day. And basically, to me, he was breaking up with her. Because he was like, I all this time I wanted to get married to you. He's like, but I woke up this morning and I decided I don't want to get married anymore. He says like that clearly. And then she's like, but what can I do? She's like, what can I do to change things?
Yeah.
And then immediately once she says that, he like quickly is like, reverses and he's like, okay, like, no, like we can be together or whatever. But I feel like even that was so wrong because he's saying he no longer wants to get married.
Yeah.
And then she's still there like, what can I change? When honestly, Chelsea hasn't done anything wrong.
No.
Chelsea hasn't done anything wrong. Yes, is she a little bit needy? I said last episode too.
She's a little bit annoying.
She is.
She has insecurities, but now we can understand why. Now we see the reason why.
But she hasn't done anything to make him doubt her commitment to him.
No, or what she feels for him.
Exactly. When he's making her feel uncomfortable. She has a history of cheating. Also, like in the past, like where she's been cheated on. That's why she's like, excuse me. She's been cheated on so many times. And I know people are like, oh, well, that's like somebody else's baggage. But if you care about her, then you could at least be respectful enough to let her know that you can be trusted.
Exactly.
And so if she expresses something like, I don't want you to be talking to your ex, which you mask as a friend, maybe you can do something. I'm not saying that he has to never talk to her again. I mean, that's what I would like. But Chelsea, it seemed like she was open.
She was open to maybe, like I said, being included in the messages.
Exactly.
Or how about even him saying, you know what, you're right, I am texting them a lot.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull back a little bit.
Or I can see how that makes you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, just validate her feelings a little bit, because he's not.
He's not. And make a small change. But he showed there to me that he was unwilling to make any type of change. So to me, a huge red flag. I don't think I honestly think Chelsea, I don't know what she's going to say, but I think that she should just say no at the altar, to be honest.
I hope she says no, because if she says yes, she is going to be living just like she's living right now for the rest of her life.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, if this is any indication of what your life is going to be like, do you really want to live that kind of life?
No.
Where you have to be worried about who your husband, because when he becomes your husband, right? Who your husband's texting, who he's hanging out with, because he doesn't tell you exactly who he's with. Or you have to be worried about this ex that's in the picture that he doesn't want to let go of. No.
What kind of a life is that?
Why would you want to live a life like that? That's the stuff that I don't get, because a lot of people out here, you know, talking from a woman's perspective, right? They like stick with a man because they're like, oh no, but like, you know, and they go through all this stuff. I'm like, when you choose a partner, you're choosing them. Why would you choose somebody who gives you headaches? Why would you choose somebody who makes your life miserable?
And that's
Why?
the thing, you already kind of have an idea of who they are.
Right.
So you kind of get glimpses of them. You know, those fights, those things will get bigger and magnified in a marriage, because now you're living under one roof.
And for a longer period of time, not just right now.
Exactly.
How they are.
So is that the life that you choose to live? Is that really what you want? I don't think that's what Chelsea wants. And I hope that she doesn't say yes. I don't know. I have no idea, but I'm hoping that no. That's why.
Yeah, me too. And I think that their issues ended up being unresolved. So I would like to see in the show, I don't know if they'll show at this point, but I would love to see maybe him make some compromise on that topic about having his girlfriends.
I mean, there's no time at this point. The next episode is going to be them
going down the altar.
Yeah, if they get married or not.
Yeah.
But staying with Jimmy and Chelsea.
Yeah.
Talking about the lake.
Oh yes.
Jimmy sees Jess.
Yeah.
At the lake, and Chelsea gets to meet Trevor.
Yes. How could I forget the part we were all waiting for? Jimmy meeting Jessica. This was a highly anticipated moment because of that breakup scene where she's like, you're gonna need your EpiPen, your airways are gonna be blocked when you see me, like, because she was just so angry, you know.
She was so upset, and you get to see actually a different side of Jess, which I kind of appreciated.
Me too.
That she's not so kind of arrogant.
Yeah.
Because that's what she seemed like a lot in the pods, really arrogant kind of, and you see a kind of a nicer side to her, kind of more. I don't know, just nice.
Like a softer side, I guess.
A softer side, yeah.
In a way, but also just, like you said, not as arrogant. She just came off like, because being confident is great. I feel like everybody, you should be your biggest cheerleader.
Of course,
always,
of course.
But it just came off, like, especially that breakup scene, it came off a little bit like arrogant. But I can understand now a little bit more just because she was so angry, I guess.
Yeah, she was mad.
But yeah, so they meet up. And I feel like their meetup is what a meetup should be like. Yeah. When you are a person who's engaged, like Jimmy, and you meet up with your previous connection. Yeah. And they actually even had like unresolved issues because how their breakup was just so like crazy. Yeah. And it was so wild. So they were, I feel like they did have to like have that little bit of closure and just like talk about it. And that's how things should have gone.
They didn't have to.
I mean, they didn't have to, but if they wanted to. But I feel like that's how, like, for example, Jeramey and Sarah Ann, I'm just saying, comparing to that, like, that's how something should be handled. Kind of like Jimmy and Jessica, how they talked through it.
Exactly,
through it and everything.
Yeah.
And not how Jeramey decided to do it with Sarah Ann, where he's like, let's, well, not even.
Basically at night.
Meet up at a club or whatever the hell bar.
That's surprising, actually, about Jimmy, that he didn't contact Jess at all and waited until this meeting. Yeah. This lake, party, whatever.
Yeah.
And met up with her then.
Exactly. I guess that's like the one respectable thing he has about him.
The only thing.
He's not all bad, but he is just, that thing with his friends is just horrible.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like him.
Yeah, I don't like him either,
I don't like who he is on the show, period.
Yeah, I don't like him as a partner. I don't think he's a good partner to Chelsea. But yeah, so he meets with Jessica, they talk, and they I feel like it was very respectful because Jessica also said that she is friends with Chelsea and everything. Yeah. And you can just tell that how she is not trying to get involved in their relationship. No. She's not trying to explore anything with Jimmy or even tells him anything remotely like, do you still like me? Like nothing. Nothing at all. So I feel like that is very good of her to do that. How it should be. Because she knows that he picked, Chelsea. So I feel like she stands her place. So yeah, like you're saying, I feel like we got to see a different side of Jessica that I really liked, because I was like, okay, I'm like, the editing and everything made it seem like she was gonna be like this homewrecker. Everybody was saying that, right? Like everybody thought that, like when Chelsea was screaming at him, you hooked up with her. We all thought it was Jessica.
Yeah.
We thought, that when she sees him, that's what I've been seeing online. Everybody thought like, oh, that she would maybe do something to be like this is what you missed out on or something like that.
But no, she was calm, and I'm so happy that it was like that instead of it being this horrible drama thing.
Exactly.
That it didn't need to be, and it wasn't.
Exactly. Yeah. So I feel like that their meetup was good, and I feel like there's nothing there. Like I didn't notice anything like Jimmy being flirtatious or anything. I thought it went well.
And like you said, the good thing here, the only green flag of Jimmy so far is this.
Yeah, which is actually kind of shocking, right?
It is shocking. It was shocking to me because I was like, okay, well, he did say, you were still my number one, or you still are my number, something like that he said.
Yeah, he said you were still my number one, which he didn't expand on that, and I guess better for Jessica to not even ask.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm like, what do you mean she was still your number one, but then you picked Chelsea? So I'm a little bit confused. Because I guess it comes down to the kid thing, and I guess he didn't want to say that, but that's really what it was.
It was the kid thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Had she not had a baby, probably he would have picked her. But like we said, then that's not the person for her.
Yeah.
Because she needs somebody who accepts her child too.
And she also, I heard on social media and stuff like that, she went on some podcast and she was like, in the end, this wouldn't have lasted long for her either, because she doesn't like how he acts, and having those girlfriends that he calls them, that would have ended everything for her.
Yeah, I saw that too, like that little preview of that podcast, that she's like, I would never be okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, nobody is.
Nobody is. I don't think anybody's like, oh yeah, you can, be friends with your exes. But Chelsea's allowing it for right now, so I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, so she says it would have never worked out anyways, based on the action that she's seen about him. So that was their meetup. And then Chelsea also meets up with Trevor.
Trevor, right. He doesn't have a mullet anymore. So she's like, oh, you cut the mullet.
Yeah. She's like sad that he cut the mullet. But yeah, that whole meetup, I feel like now that just because of what we know about Trevor, what came out on social media about, we talked about it in our last episode, if you watch that, but like basically he had a girlfriend throughout the whole filming. While they were in the pods. I think once they were out the pods, they already maybe broke up.
I don't know how it was.
I'm not sure, but definitely while he was in the pods, telling Chelsea that he loves her and all that, he had a girlfriend back home that he was keeping in contact with.
And he was the one that everyone was like, oh my God, Trevor, Chelsea should have picked her up. Poor Chelsea. Either way she would have gone, it would have been a mess for her. It would have
been a mess. That's what I'm saying. Like, now, if I would have seen that meetup of Trevor and Chelsea, not knowing that Trevor had a girlfriend the whole time, like social media wouldn't have let us know that and everything. Yeah. I would have been like, oh, she should have picked Trevor, because he just seems so nice. Even what he's saying there, he's like, yeah, I'm not a very argumentative person. And then we see her arguing with Jimmy all the freaking time.
Over everything and anything. They're always arguing.
Right. And she even says there too, Chelsea's like, yeah, I feel like you would like love me a lot. Like, yeah. And I think she meant like showing affection and stuff like that, which would have been perfect for her because she needs that.
Yeah, and you know what made her feel secure of the relationship? Because that's what Jimmy lacks because of everything that he's doing. Exactly. Having these girlfriends, that makes her super insecure.
Exactly. So, yeah, and then, basically just I think Trevor would have been a better pick for her if we didn't know he had the girlfriend on the side. So that just tainted it all for me, because me seeing that interaction with Chelsea and Trevor, everything that he was saying, I was just like, you're a liar, because you have a girlfriend. Yeah. So what are you talking about?
But without thinking about the girlfriend part, everything that he said to her, all of that, they would have been a good couple. Right. Taking away that he has a girlfriend, they would have been a good match. That was her match. Right. That should have been her original match. Yeah. But, I mean, like I said, like we were saying, either way she would have gone, it would have been a mess. Because one has a girlfriend, the other one he can't commit.
Yeah. And it honestly probably would have been more of a mess with Trevor had she gone with him and then find out that he had a girlfriend the whole time. And
I wonder how that would have played out.
Yeah, that would have been a disaster. If that would have been so much drama for us to watch, because imagine her finding out that while he even proposed to her that he has a girlfriend.
What would he have done? Because was he going to propose to her then? Because, I mean, he has a girlfriend, and we saw that he was texting. He said something like...
He said, I'm not going to propose.
I'm not going to propose, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not going to get married, just doing the experience, like, the dating part. That's what he's saying. So, we'll never know.
Yeah, we'll never know.
We'll never know. But we saw that, too. So, they both met up with their, other strong connections. Because they both equally, like, Jimmy had a really strong connection with Jess. And then Chelsea also had Trevor. Like, she says that he was her number one up until the day that Jimmy proposed to her.
Yeah. And he came in also with his little bracelet.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So he was like, Yeah, that's a little. I'm like, I don't know. He
I
was
don't
trying
know.
to do
I don't
that,
know.
But he was also very respectful.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
He was just like, like he was like, same thing that he said in the pods. He's like, I'm glad it's Johnny. Excuse me, Jimmy. I was confused. I'm glad it's Jimmy. He's like, because Jimmy's such a nice guy.
Yeah. Jimmy is such a nice guy.
That's what he says. Yep.
And anyways, still speaking on them because they have so much drama around these two, Jimmy and Jimmy and Chelsea. Also the comment, Chelsea then, they're done talking with Trevor and everything.
Oh my God.
And then Chelsea says something like, oh, these are something, what did she say exactly? I'm not even sure.
She was just
about Johnny and Amy.
She was done talking with Trevor, and she was just kind of like, I guess, like trying to just escort him in the party. I don't know what, but she was just like, "Oh, meet our strongest couple," referring to Johnny and Amy. And then Jimmy
loses it again.
Loses it. He basically gets, and he keeps playing like a joke. He's like, I can't believe you said that. And then she's like, I'm just joking. He's like, okay, well, if it's a joke. He's like, but do you really feel that way? And like, he wouldn't let it go. And I'm like, those are the things about him that I don't like, because I feel like that also brings out his like controlling side. Like, she can't speak her mind. She can't say
make
what
a
she wants
joke,
to say.
or even if she's like, it's a joke, but maybe she does believe that they're the strongest couple, and who cares? That's her opinion.
That's her opinion, and honestly, all of our opinion too, because from everything that we've seen, and I know that she doesn't see it like us, like the viewers, but even us, the viewers, Johnny, and Amy are the strongest couple from what we see, because everybody else seems to have so much more drama than them.
Yeah, but I think their drama is pretty big too. For me, I think they have a really big issue going on. That is the whole thing about family planning.
Yeah.
So I know they may seem strong, but I don't think they're that strong.
Right, and I agree with you, but I think it's just like the way that what the show shows us is like everybody else has these other like
right
huge drama things, and theirs is a big thing too.
I think
because I think that's going to be something that may ultimately break them up, even though in these episodes we see them kind of work through that a little bit more.
Yeah.
So,
but still, I don't know. I don't see them that in love. I really don't.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Yeah. But Chelsea makes that comment about that, and that just shows Jimmy, like we were saying, just Jimmy getting annoyed over that, and then her basically like apologizing too and being like, well, I'm sorry I said that. She's like, I would never say that if it wasn't a joke. Like, and I'm just like, those are the things that I'm just like, Chelsea needs to find herself somebody else. She needs to let go of him, because everything about her seems to bother him.
Yeah.
Everything that I just felt at that moment, I'm like, she can't, what if she does think they're a strong couple? Like, what if she's joking? Why do you have to act that way?
Yeah, who cares? If you don't like it, then there's a problem with Jimmy, because she can have different opinions than him. They are definitely not the strongest couple, if that's what he's trying to say.
And that's what I was feeling like. He was like, like, we're the strongest couple.
No,
like,
they're not.
You really think you're the strongest couple?
Look how he acts.
Right.
A strong couple wouldn't flip out just because she thinks someone else is strong.
Exactly. So I just feel like that was just all, again, just showing Jimmy's character, how I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it at all.
No, I don't like it, and I just don't like how he acts overall. And then it ends on Jimmy being kind of like, the whole episode ends, to end off on Jimmy and Chelsea.
Yeah.
He's like, you know where I stand. I want to get married, this and that.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? He tells her, what about you? And so she's kind of like...
Yeah, they leave us on a cliffhanger where she's just like,
like unsure.
Unsure. That's how they make it seem. We'll see what it really is like, in the next episode. But, I want to hear what she says too. I feel like, because I know he says that, he's like, I haven't heard from you, but I feel like we kind of have.
She's in it.
She's in it. She didn't even want to, that day when he left, she was like, don't leave. So I feel like that...
he calls her clingy. I don't know. What else does he want from her?
Yeah, I don't know.
He wants too much, I think. He wants so much from her. He wants to give so little of himself.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't like the way that he treats her.
Yeah,
I don't like the way that he treats her. I don't think it's correct. And I think she deserves better. I think anybody would deserve better than that.
Yeah. And you know what? I really hope that she doesn't say yes. Because the only person here that will say yes, I feel, is her.
Yeah.
Chelsea,
yeah. So, yeah, me too. I hope she doesn't say yes, because that's not correct. Not good for her. And I feel like she's going to go into her patterns of, like, her old stuff. Like, if she had somebody cheat on her before. I don't know. I'm not saying he's going to do it, but Jimmy's the one that's most likely to cheat.
Yeah. Because, we have also Clay.
Yeah.
And AD. Clay always is talking about infidelity so much.
But he hasn't shown anything, or they haven't showed us at all, like a history of him cheating. They haven't said anything about that. AD is not struggling with him going out with friends, having girlfriends. Like, none of that. She's not struggling with any of that. So I feel like, I know Clay has these, he's so worried about it. Like, just verbally, he keeps talking about everything. But if anything, the one that's most likely to cheat is Jimmy.
Yeah.
Out of the couples there.
Yeah.
So I just feel like, it's just crazy. But going into Clay and AD.
Yeah.
With his whole stuff, with him being so worried about being, unfaithful to AD. I loved seeing AD's mom. I love that we got to meet her, that Clay got to meet her and everything.
Yeah.
And just everything that AD's mom was saying to Clay, I was like, yes. I'm like, finally somebody saying this to him, because she was just like, those are your parents' issues, because he's so worried about being unfaithful because his dad was unfaithful to his mom. And AD's mom was just kind of like, don't bring the parents' issues onto yourself.
Right.
She's like, those are your parents. Doesn't mean that everything that they did, you're going to do exactly the same, or even anything that they did has some type of influence on what decisions you're going to make in your life.
Yeah, I mean, he is a free person who makes his own decisions. It's not like it's something in his genes, in his genetic makeup, that he is going to cheat because his dad did.
Right.
That's not going to happen. He chooses whether he wants to cheat or not. That is, he has the free will.
Exactly.
And with free will, you choose which you decide to do.
Right.
And he's so worried about cheating that I hope, and I truly think that he would never cheat because he's so worried about it. So he would be like, wait, maybe if this is maybe flirting or cheating, or so he's really hyper aware of it. I don't think he would do it.
Yeah. And I mean, I agree 100%. I'm like, and he should definitely not be doing it, like you're saying, because if he's so hyper aware, then he should be safe.
Yeah.
Because if you're so worried that you're going to cheat, then hopefully that will prevent you from ever cheating.
Right.
And so anyways, I just think like that is AD and Clay's like biggest issue really here. That's the only thing that makes me really kind of see them being a little bit like a weaker couple. Now I see AD way more into Clay.
Yes. Oh yeah. I see her completely like really liking him now, because before I would say she doesn't like him, but now after seeing her with her mom and everything, she has gotten really interested in Clay.
Exactly. She was just talking him up to a lot. She was like, Mom, like, he's such a great guy. Like, he's gorgeous. Like, she was just saying a lot of these things that I feel like we didn't see before. Because even with that scene of the food, she looked like she was kind of like getting the ick from him or something like that, So I feel like now these episodes, we got to see her really, like, she's really into Clay, which I like, because I think I stand by, I think Clay's a nice guy. The only thing that I'm a little bit worried about is that because of his worries about being unfaithful, that they're going to get to the altar and he's going to say no.
Yeah.
Because he kind of brought that up to her in these episodes.
He did.
He told her basically like, kind of like, well, if we say no at the altar, like we can still, he's like, why put a time limit on love?
Right.
He was like, even if we say no at the altar, he's like, maybe we can take some more time to get to know each other and then like get married. And I liked AD's response too. She's like, I'm not going to be a fiance for like 5 years, 7 years.
Yeah,
she's like, I don't want to do that. And she's like, and I want to follow through with the experience, of like, you get married at the end.
Right, yeah. I mean, they're also in their 30s. They're not like, these young, super young people. It's about time that they can get married and all that. I mean, there's no time limit on marriage or age, right? But they're stable people, we can see. Stable with like their jobs and all that stuff financially. So it's okay. It would be good for them to get married. And I wouldn't continue a relationship either if, that's what this whole thing is about, getting married. So it's either yes or no. And if he says no, then it's over. And that's what she tells him. Exactly. She's like, I can't date you after this. It will be over. Yeah. Which makes a lot of sense.
Makes a lot of sense. I agree with her exactly what you're saying. AD and everybody else who signed up for the show, they obviously signed up because they're looking to get married. Exactly. So why would she take his like proposal of basically, not getting married, and not only that, but like extending it to be like such a long engagement? She's obviously dating to get married. So if you go to the altar and you say no, that means you don't want to get married. Why would she continue dating you? Why would she continue dating you?
Because you don't want to get married today. What makes her think that you want to get married next year, or next month, or whatever the case is? What is your time frame at this point?
It's just a waste of her time at that point. So I am proud of AD too. She's another strong woman. We have some strong women on the show. Yes. Laura, I feel, is like a strong woman for letting go of Jeramey. I think also AD is a very strong woman. Yep. I think Amy's a strong woman too, because she's standing firm on her contraceptive beliefs and choices. It's her choice, it's her body. Yeah. So I like that too. The only one looking a little not strong is Chelsea, like we said, for all the previous reasons,
Chelsea has some sort of like trauma or something, PTSD. I don't know what it is, but she has something that she's working through.
Yeah, and we have seen on social media, on her TikTok and everything,
Yeah.
she says she has a therapist. So I'm like, okay, good for her. Because I remember I mentioned that. I was like, we mentioned that.
We mentioned
that
it,
she
yeah.
needs therapy, so I'm glad she has her therapist. But
They say actually that all of them, I think, have therapists.
yeah, I think they all said that. Yeah, I know AD said that too. Yeah, that she has
I
a
heard
therapist.
Laura has a
Laura has a
therapist.
therapist, yeah. So good for them. You know, they're working through their problems. But yeah, so Clay and AD, nothing really major happened this episode. If anything, we see them kind of pulling a little bit closer.
Getting a little stronger.
Getting a little stronger. I see them like a good match.
I see them as a good match. If anyone, I think they would be the strongest ones.
Yeah.
In my eyes, they would be the strongest ones
Yeah.
to get married and everything.
Yeah.
And I think it would last.
Yeah, exactly. And I think so too. Like I said, the only thing that I'm worried about is that Clay's going to end up saying no at the end because of he's scared or something like that, which I'm just so sad because I feel like I like Clay so much. It's just that one part of him that I feel like otherwise he's such a nice guy. I think.
Yeah, he is a nice guy. And I changed my opinion on him. I actually like Clay.
Yeah.
I like him. I think I thought something was off about him, but no, I changed my mind and I like Clay.
Exactly. Yeah, me too. And I think it's because maybe in the pods too, like he even said, he like kind of would have this persona.
Yeah.
Like, I guess he wants to be like this like player persona.
Yeah,
Which
but
why
he's
do you want to do
not.
that? Like, oh my God.
He's a nice guy. He's a very nice guy.
And like I said, we don't know his whole life. We don't know his whole life, but from what we've seen on the show, we haven't seen him show any player characteristics.
Or like being like angry either because
No, he's such a chill.
he showed himself kind of angry and a little bit aggressive in the pods.
Yeah.
That's something that I didn't like. But outside the pods, he's calm.
Yeah.
You know, he's different and I like him.
I like Clay too. So we'll see what happens with them. But yeah, if anything, they got a little bit stronger these episodes.
They did.
And then our next couple and last couple that, you know, is heading to the altar is Johnny and Amy.
Yeah.
In these episodes, we see Amy gets... Was it these episodes where her dad gives the approval finally?
Yeah.
So,
But there also, I feel like there's not much with them. There's not too much
with them, yeah.
And that's why I feel, for me, there's not much to show. I feel like there's not that much love, really.
Right.
They seem very, like, nice to each other. They're nice people because they are. They're not arguing. There's no real problems.
Right.
There's nothing eventful we can say happening.
Right.
But I think that's also a problem.
Same. That I feel like that keeps us not knowing much. Like, we can't really read them. Like, what are they going to say in the end? Because they seem very, like, agreeable. Like, they agree on things besides the contraceptives, which they kind of in these episodes, too, at the end of the episode, they were like...
Well, she kind of said she is willing to take it.
She said she has to do some more research, but she might be willing to, you know, take the contraceptives that Johnny wants her to take. Johnny says he did some research and figured out that there's not many options for men out there and everything. So...
And he retracted the statement about the vasectomy. He doesn't want to do that anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get a vasectomy anymore, which...
duh. If you do it, it's not reversible.
Yeah, they say you're going to be infertile basically after you have a vasectomy.
Yeah.
So that goes back to like, that's a whole other issue, but like, that's just like society in general. Why don't we have more options for men? That is a whole problem, right?
It's all the pressure's on the women, but
yeah,
that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, it's a conversation for another day, but it just kind of shows you all this was done probably by men. Like, men are the one who thought this was a good idea.
I mean, men are the ones deciding on our bodies.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, that's ridiculous.
Ridiculous, I know. But, so yeah, nothing major happened. It's just very, like...
Bland.
We don't know. They go, you know, get fitted for their tux and dress for Amy, just like all the other couples.
Yeah.
We got to see Amy's mom.
Yeah.
She seems very, like, you know, she's so
emotional. Are her parents together, I wonder?
I think they are together. I don't know.
Because they never show them together,
yeah.
the parents.
Yeah, they didn't show them together. We see them, and her mom's very emotional about everything. Amy seems like she's going to say yes, too. Like, I feel like she's very into it. But I don't know. From Johnny's side, I'm like... Johnny gives me, like... I feel like he's going to... He seems like a very nice guy and everything. But I just feel like he's going to, at the end, like, surprise us all and say no.
Yeah, I feel like if anyone is going to get married... It's going to be, I was going to say Clay and AD, but I don't even know, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the preview.
Yeah, the preview.
There was no preview.
It didn't give us anything.
There was no preview for episode 12.
We basically saw nothing. They just show, like, somebody walking down, which I guess is AD.
Because
it has the veil that she tried on.
Yeah.
But it doesn't give us anything. Other seasons, we've at least seen, like, you know, a little bit of conversation between, like, something. They didn't give us anything.
They show kind of them walking down the aisle and stuff like that, but...
They really wanted to keep it really hush-hush, so we can't guess anything. They want to keep us on our toes, and it's working because I'm just like, I don't know about you, but I'm so unsure about who's going to get married.
I feel like I said it from a while ago. I'm like, none of them are getting married.
Yeah.
If anyone, if I change my mind a little bit, it would be for Clay and AD.
Yeah,
I think that they would get married, but the other two couples, I don't think they're getting married.
Yeah, I know. And that's what I'm like, when I saw the preview, I'm like, they're not giving us anything, either one, because there is no drama, which means they all got married. So that's what I was kind of thinking. I'm like, is that why they're not showing us anything? Because there's nothing like out of the ordinary to show, or nothing that would keep us like, that would make us think like any drama that would like pull
And
us
it's
in.
only one episode. When they do these, wedding episodes are like 2 episodes sometimes.
Exactly, because there's like more behind it. So I'm like, are these all signs that everybody just says yes? So there's no drama. So it's just like one couple says yes, next couple says yes, third couple says yes, and it's just like everything goes smoothly.
Or it's
so there's no content.
Or it's no, yes, no, or something. There has to be a no. I feel like there is gonna. Jimmy and Chelsea, they cannot get married.
Yeah,
that is a mess.
They're a mess. Yeah, so that's what I'm like. I feel like just from the preview, I feel like everybody's gonna get married. But then I'm like, I also feel like you, that nobody's gonna get married.
Because some people shouldn't.
And then if anything, like you're saying, I feel like the only ones that probably, well, I think if anybody does get married, I think it'll be Clay and AD. Because I feel like maybe what we can see is Clay kind of, get out of this fear of his and just push his fears to the side and, be committed to AD.
Yeah.
So I feel like hopefully we can see that kind of story. It'd be so nice to see that from him. But then I guess if everything is going, if everything continues to go how it's been going, then I guess Johnny and Amy would say yes. But I don't see Chelsea and Jimmy saying yes.
I don't see Chelsea and Jimmy saying yes. I can't see Amy and Johnny saying yes. I kind of can see Clay and AD.
Yeah.
But with Clay being unsure, I feel like a man has to be sure, just like the woman.
Right.
And he's not sure.
Right. It's not something you can just say yes because you're like, okay, this is like a big choice in your life.
So that's why for me, it's a no for everyone.
Yeah.
And it's if I have to really choose somebody, it would be Clay and AD.
Yeah.
If I had to choose someone.
Yeah. That they are gonna say yes.
And they're gonna say yes.
Yeah. I'm like, I really don't know. I honestly do not know. But I would say I think Johnny and Amy are gonna say yes. Even though I really feel like Johnny's gonna pull a little, flip the switch on us, and he's gonna say no. I feel like Amy's probably gonna be up there thinking so confidently that he's gonna say yes. She's gonna say yes, and then he's gonna say no. That's what I really feel like is gonna happen. But there's another side of me that thinks that they're just gonna say both say yes, both get married. So I feel like if anything, definitely I think Clay and AD. Mm-hmm. Well, and by definitely I mean like mostly out of all of them. I'm still not.
Yeah.
But I feel like Clay and AD, Johnny and Amy will both say yes. But I can't see a world where Jimmy and Chelsea.
And imagine if they're the only ones that get married, Jimmy and Chelsea.
That would be crazy.
Imagine this whole time, even on social media, they're actually living together.
They're together. I don't know. She did say even in one of her TikToks, Chelsea, she's like, a lot can change in a year. She's like, a person changes a lot in a year and everything. And I was just kind of thinking, I'm like, do you mean because you're married? Like, I don't know.
I thought because she goes to therapy, so she's more secure in herself and like.
Yeah.
She's okay, but not probably watching this. She's like calling her therapist, like, right. I need help again.
With all this backlash.
My God, poor Chelsea. That's so wrong. She's shown some stuff and things like that people sent her, which is horrible.
And like you said, like it's like kind of like her edit, we can say, or I mean, she's saying all those things, so it's not really the editing, but like just her role, I guess, in this whole show is that she is that one.
I mean, they can edit your faces and things in a way that make you look bad.
Yeah, and she did take that role of she just looks like that like clingy girl. She does look like clingy, needy, insecure. That is kind of like her role that she looks like.
Yeah.
The next episode is them going down the altar.
Yep.
And it's the finale, they said, right?
It's the finale.
So after this, we'll just have the reunion afterwards.
Yeah.
So we'll see anyways if our predictions are correct or not next week.
Yeah, we'll see. And we'll let you guys know. We're going to be here again next Wednesday. With all the drama.
Yeah.
Or not. We never know, right?
We never know. What if they all say yes? I'm just back and forth. I don't know what it's going to be.
They're saying no. I don't know.
You're standing by. They're all saying no.
They're all saying no. That's what I'm saying.
2 out of 3 will say yes, and the only ones say no, Jimmy and Chelsea, will be the ones that they say no. And I feel like I don't know which one of them is going to say no. I can't go that far, but I don't think it's gonna go through with the marriage, but we'll see. But we're here, like we said, every Wednesday we have a new episode, so don't forget to subscribe. And let us know your predictions too. If you have any predictions, if anything. I mean, I'm definitely gonna be checking social media and see if I can get any type of clues from anybody.
I kind of want to, but at the same time I don't. I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know what to do. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate you guys being here. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you guys next Wednesday.
Yep, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.